Brains podcast with
Maria Sticker.
Lalik Joseph.
Kamora Michael.
Okay, Joseph.
Jasmine Jackson.
Isabel Curran.
Ike Orlando.
So today's topic, we're going to be discussing what should the political future of our U.S. Virgin Islands look like, and what do we think as a group if we should continue as an unincorporated territory or push for statehood or maybe even towards independence?
That's a good point. Our political status affects our rights, our economy, and our identity as well. It's not just about laws, but about what we want to become.
Right. Before we get into what we think the political future of our island should look like, does anybody want to explain how we got to our current status, what our history looks like a little bit?
I think I could. So, as we know, Christopher Columbus, he discovered the island of St. Croix, or they called it II. He discovered it when the Taínos, Arawaks, and Siboney inhabited. And after that, after Christopher Columbus's discovery, it led to 7 other countries owning our island. Does anybody know what those 7 countries are?
I know it's called the Seven Flags. And I know that our predecessor was Denmark.
Okay, well, you're on the right track. So the 7 countries is Spain, England, Netherlands, Knights of Malta, and Denmark, which was the last person that owned us before the US bought us for $25 million. Just for the sake of military strategizing. And if I could remember, there was something about the Organic Act of 1954. If
Right.
remembers.
Right. The reason that we created the document, the Revised Organic Act, was because as an unincorporated territory, we don't actually have our own constitution.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of one of the downfalls of being an unincorporated territory. Does anyone want to kind of get into more of what being an unincorporated territory means?
Yes, I could touch up on that. An unincorporated territory is basically a region that belongs to a country, but that is not is solely part of it.
Right.
Yeah, we could touch up on some pros and cons that come with being a unincorporated territory. One pro being we have continued access to U.S. benefits and citizenships, including federal programs. Maybe a con of that comes with being an unincorporated territory.
I guess when not being able to have our own voice and having the United States choose our choices for us.
Yeah, it's an outstanding con. Um, but another pro that could be also mentioned is we will keep stability without major drastic change politically. Because the Congress controls all of what we do.
Right. I mean, there has to be like a deep exploration of how much we're actually benefiting from the United States, how much we're actually benefiting from these federal programs. I know, like, when we think about our housing situation here in the Virgin Islands, majority of people are living in federally funded housing communities
Right.
and receiving federal benefits like food stamps. So we would have to probably explore that some more.
Right.
Also, I know that our citizenship is very important with the US. And I know that people work really hard to get into America, and is that something we'd be willing to give up? by not being an unincorporated territory.
May I ask a question? If Okay, so the question I am wondering, so if we are no longer an unincorporated territory, does that mean that people will have to fight more to come to the Virgin Islands as well? Because I know right now it's really easy.
That's a good question, Kimura. Maybe it would be a way to protect our land more from like the possibilities of gentrification and having other people influence our culture so much like we currently
Right,
are.
right. Okay, thank you.
So, okay, if we were to stay unincorporated, like Maria was saying, that means we continue to not really have a say so for our land. And for other questions like Kimura was asking, we continue to kind of have to deal with a lot of outsiders. Um, what if we were to go independent?
Um,
Hmm.
so I feel the the government, they're not ready to be independent because it's like, you see how we're getting money from the states for the financial aid and for the hospitals and everything. It's like, if you see that there's people, embezzling money from the government, it's like they would take it as a chance to just take the money, if that makes sense. So it's like, if we became independent, we will lose a lot. So we will lose um the financial aid, the citizenship of the United States. Like, we wouldn't be able to travel as much, or the different,
Right.
huh?
Passports wouldn't be as strong either if we were independent.
Right. So it's like, there's a lot of things that, to just make that big change to become independent, it would be kind of hard, and kind of because we grew up with this system, and it's like, for it to just automatically change now that we go independent, it's just gonna be a whole different thing.
Well, I mean, the governor was saying that if we do go independent, that we have universities and colleges, and we have
Right,
marine and the agriculture and the funding from the British Virgin Islands. But even though we have funding from British Virgin Islands, I'm sure it's not going to be as much as America has given us. So even if we do go in, I don't think that we would go independent, because I don't think that the government wants to give up all of that money.
right.
Right.
So we don't really have a voice, but at least they're giving us money for stuff, you know?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think we could potentially have a really good shot if we were independent. Because I think um Governor Roach was stating, like we do have the infrastructure and the possibility of, you know, like creating newer hospitals and things like that. Like we have the potential to have all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we do have like the marine biology like you stated, but I think something that we would continue to face, as in majority of territories, is we'd have to see how we could eliminate as much corruption as possible, because I think that we do have a shot of making our own money, but how do we make sure that the people in charge, even if we're independent, are not stealing all of our funds and putting
Exactly.
it in their own pockets and
Right.
fixing, their own homes and not our community. So I think we should, it's everything sounds great and possible, but it's how do you like move forward knowing that you're not going to be in a corrupt government.
I mean, it's like with, okay, let me say this. It's like with tourism, we have a lot of tourists that comes here. So it's like if we don't have things for them to do, like places to eat, places to like things to do, places to shop, it's like the money that was a way that we could get in like good money, but like
But also, we have to wonder if we become independent. Like Isabella was saying, how do we know that the government isn't going to steal our money nonetheless? So, what funds would
I
we
feel like
have to create all of this, to create an income in itself rather than just the government?
I feel like they're stealing it all now because there's a
exactly.
bunch of money that goes towards them all now that they're not using to fix anything here,
Right.
you know? And that's another thing that people are always wondering. And there's like things on it on Facebook and stuff. Where's all of the money going to? You know? So
But
even if it's
I have a question. Sorry.
incorporated or
Go ahead.
unincorporated, I think that they're gonna take the money either way.
I have a question. So, does anybody know once we, no, not once we, but if we were to become independent, who would be our leaders? Like, could we probably pick our own instead of having the corrupted people that are already in the government?
Mhm.
As in to reshape the government itself.
Yeah, so like in my head, becoming independent would mean to like start fresh. So we would be able to make
Right.
our own decisions. So we could make the decision of having a person that could help us more than the people that
Right.
yeah.
I feel like even though like authority nonetheless is mostly corrupt right now, I think there's more strength in numbers, and if we don't want them to stay, they won't
Yeah.
be able to.
That's
We would definitely be able to pick someone.
I definitely know that, from what I do know about the few independent places that I can think of, the role of governor would no longer be who our leader is. That role at least would change because I know like other places have prime ministers and other roles for their leadership. So I don't know exactly what process that would look like for like eliminating our current government and reestablishing new roles. But I know that there'll definitely be different roles because we no longer will be under the control of like the president of the United States.
mm-hmm. Right.
And I mean, it would be a big jump to take from being unincorporated to independent. But
Right.
there's also another option, which is seeking statehood. So what would that mean if we seek statehood, which also means being incorporated?
To be incorporated into the United States would mean that we would become one of the states under the US, which would benefit us by, we would get benefits for being a official citizen. We would be able to vote for our presidency. We'd have a place and a seat in the Congress to make our own decision because, like we heard in our presentation in class, to have a seat in Congress as a local will bring much more benefits than having somebody that doesn't live here to understand our struggles to know what we really need. The only downfalls would to be able to get into statehood itself because due to our population, we wouldn't be first picked to be turned into a state. And there's other concerns such as the tax benefits and what would housing turn out to be and like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's
Probably
just
too, um, sorry, Kiara.
it's okay, go ahead.
Probably too, I would imagine that our current government wouldn't want us to take that route because I'm sure that becoming a statehood means that you're going to be watched even more by how those federal funds are being spent. Um,
Exactly. And as we know, they're pretty corrupt at the moment. It's spending their money how they please. And I'm sure that their power and control will be lessened.
mhm. But in a way that could potentially be a way to get those corrupt people out of government. And maybe it would be a beneficial thing to turn into a statehood, even though we would be under the control of America. Like you said, we'd have more say in our
Mhm.
territory. And it wouldn't be so much like our governor and stuff getting to make the decision of what happens to those funds, because right now it definitely feels like there's not as much like the federal government looking into these things, like to see how this
Mhm.
money's getting spent.
I feel like the only concern I have with being watched like that is the cultural annihilation that may happen during that process, and people claiming being Virgin Islanders when it would not be that way. They'd be claiming our identity while not fully being here.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Like
Right.
probably very quickly they would feel like they have more say in um
What a
being able
Virgin
to
Islander
like,
is, yeah.
yeah, and getting rid of our culture.
Mhm. Buying more land
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and raising the prices and making it harder for us to own our own property as well.
Right.
Right.
Oh, well, there's a lot of pros and cons for each. It's um I don't know, for me, I feel scared to think about uh, any of the changes, because I know that we won't learn our fate until we've already gone through these changes.
Hmm.
So that's like the very scary part, is we won't know if we made the right decision until it's already happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up this podcast for today. Maybe we can get into some other stuff next time. Did
Right.
anyone have any last points they want to make?
Um,
Well, uh, I just had an opinion that
No.
I guess we should be independent, in my opinion, just because of
Okay.
our culture and stuff like that. But the other aspects is definitely important to consider, like
Right.
the finances and stuff. But I just think it would be the best option out of all of them to be independent.
Yeah, I feel like
I don't know
us
what
right
you
now.
guys think. Hmm?
I feel like us right now being unincorporated territory, like when they just the United States just see us as a military base and not really anything else. So that's why they don't really care about us, and we don't really follow the no taxation without representation, because we got pay taxes, but we don't get any representation anyways. So I feel like the best thing would just be go independence, and
Mm-hmm.
Right.
because I don't think that we would fall short if we go independent. I feel like there will be struggles, but we can carry our own with a good government and stuff. So that's my opinion. I think independence.
Agreed.
so basically, we could go independent with the right leaders and the right
Yeah.
people on
Right.
hand to do the task.
Or
Yeah.
build our way up like everybody else that had to go independent.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like in my opinion, I'm kind of bouncing between the idea about like remaining unincorporated or going independent. Because like going independent, I feel like it would be hard to find the right people to oversee the right things. Because the people down here are kind of lazy. Like you remaining now, I mean, it's not really that good because like the Congress really don't care about us. Just keep it a buck. But you're incorporated. I don't know if you'll be able to find the right people to oversee the things.
But I mean,
That's understandable, but there's always somebody somewhere for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I know a lot of smart people that would make great leaders down
mm,
here. I feel like yes,
I,
there's gonna be struggle, especially in motivation of the people, but I think we can do it.
Yeah, I think that's a whole nother debate. Because I
Right.
think that if we can't even find faith in our people or talk positively about our people, going with independence, we're kind of feeding into what they want us to think about our own people, believing that we don't have this in us to be leaders, feeds into the colonization that has happened already
Right.
to our community. So I think we have to be careful with the terms that we use. Like, I hear you, Makai, but like also it's like be careful with calling our people lazy, and be careful with how we portray ourselves, because like Kamora saying, this place is full of capable people, and we just have to be mindful about how we speak about our own people.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so maybe we could get into that more next time.
Okay.
Next time.
Okay.
Podcast.
All right, thank you so much, guys.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank
everyone
you.
listening to our podcast.
Thank you.
All right, I am going to stop this recording.
Okay.
Bye.